Hey world, this is Justin, and you are tuned to Anywhere the Needle Drops, and this is another bonus episode for you. So last week you heard from the Crane Wives. We had them here to discuss their latest album, their latest tour, and all the fun going on in the current Crane Wives world. So we thought that we would head into the archives, hop in that Wayback Machine, turn on that DeLorean, and rev it up to 88 miles per hour, and check out my original conversation with them way back in 2016. Seems so long ago, and I guess it was probably, 8-9 years ago. So so much has changed since then, for you guys, I'm sure, for me, definitely for the band, which we discuss. This interview took place backstage at the Livery in Benton Harbor after their show. We crammed into the green room together and had a fun little chat. In fact, one of to this day, my favorite things ever about doing this thing is, I believe it was Emily that at the end said, this was probably my favorite interview, and I still hold on to that accolade to this day. So check out some older tunes and this original interview from 2016 with the Crane Wives.
I've seen good men spoil, chained to their jobs like hounds. They work and sleep and work again. In the darkest nights they howl, and their cries are a warning to everyone following. No man should stand to work all of his days and have nothing at the end of them. I got no money, but the change, it jingles in my pockets, reminding me how little I have. And that's what time I am, powerless to stop it. It keeps rambling on like a mad wandering man. My papa was a howling man. He traded in his youth. He sold his dreams and all of his days for the great American roost. And my dear papa gave me lessons in regret. He said all that he'd done would be for nothing if I followed in his steps. I got no money, but the change, it jingles in my pockets, reminding me how little I have. And that's what time I am, powerless to stop it. It keeps rambling on like a mad wandering man. My papa taught me how to howl, how to bare my teeth and growl. He taught me that the hand that feeds deserves to be bitten when it beats. He taught me how to break my chains, and that money ain't worth a thing, and that no man should get more of my time than me. I may never be a rich man, but I can make sure that I am free and jangles in my pockets, reminding me how little I have. But as for time, as for time, it's mine, it's mine.
It was a very awful metal bar that did not like us at
How
all.
did you end up playing a metal bar?
We were new.
It did not look like a metal bar. It looked like your standard cheesy bar.
I asked the guy,
Yeah.
he's like, it's mostly metal, occasionally hip hop, and we're like, great, so great, thank you.
That's our crowd right there for sure.
Oh, they were not. There's enough people there though to know that they weren't into it. You
Yeah.
know, like it's one of those things. Like it's not just like there's no one here. It's like they actually visibly hate it.
And there was
Except-
definitely a crowd.
There was like a guy in a wife beater though that really liked it, and he was like doing a striptease in front of us.
Nice.
Right in front of us.
Afterwards, he asked me if we wanted to play a show on his farm.
Oh.
To which I said immediately, no thank you. And then tried to make eye contact with somebody else to help me.
And no one helped her.
The awkwardness of public life.
I don't want to be turned into a lampshade.
I mean, it may not have been a lampshade. It could have been.
I know, pajamas.
Any
Who knows?
variety.
A rug.
A woman.
You could have been a
There's
rug.
all sorts of house wears you could have become. It's okay. Yeah. You can put in those requests for those things. So, all right.
Memories.
So you're based out of Grand Rapids, is that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how did all this start? How did the Crane life begin?
We met in college.
Okay. Which college?
Grand Valley State.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So basically, like on Grand Valley's campus, Emily played music, I played music, Dan played music,
Okay.
and then Dan and Ben were both in a sound engineering club.
Okay.
Scientists of sound. I
Yeah.
believe.
And like Emily and I were friends.
That's super nerdy, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. It's so nerdy, but I love it so much because that's who we are.
Already popped in.
Super
All right.
But basically, like Emily and I started hanging out with the same group of friends, and she and I were both solo artists, and we were both like the girl in the group of guys.
Sure.
But there were two of us, so it was like a weird.
It was there
dynamic.
like competition, but not really like stated
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, like we liked each other, but it was this weird like. I'm used to being this role, and you're kind of ruining it. Like, but like we would all of us would cross paths on campus. Like she and I were friends, but not super close yet.
Yeah,
But,
and
like,
Dan and I had a couple classes together. I actually opened for his band at the time, Broccoli and Ben, and a Dave Matthews Band tribute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah. So eventually, like after she graduated college, she started working for this terrible restaurant.
It's really hard to find a job when you graduate and have no money. It's very hard.
It was horrible,
Yes.
and she came over to my house and was telling me and my roommate how horrible it was, and I was so desperate for a job that I was like, "Are they hiring? Let me work there." And so I worked with her.
I still maintain that I warned you.
You definitely did, but I was poor. We worked there together, and in our shared misery, we became much closer than we
Sure.
had been. Like there
There's
was
nothing like work misery to really.
God.
beautiful and
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
This place was like unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
Psychologically damaging is what that place was.
Yeah.
Does that affect like going out to eat nowadays, or?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I will
I'm
be
a
honest.
big enough pig that I don't. I just put it out of my mind because Chinese food is so good.
Just put it in your face.
And you know what? I've never gotten sick off of it, and nothing bad has ever
And
happened.
on the road, you get like a lot of sketchy food, so I feel like maybe we built up a tolerance
Iron
to
stomach.
sketchy
That's
food.
right. Yeah.
You know, like this meat is pink, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. It's been 2 days.
I mean, there's an animal at some point that would have eaten it, so why not us?
Absolutely.
You know?
I like to think at some point we were capable of handling raw meat.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we got.
That's all right. It's all right. So okay, so you're working together. You're miserable, and
our boss found out that we played music, and we like encouraged her to let us play music on Friday nights at the Chinese
Where it
buffet.
was very slow.
Yeah.
For some reason, like
We
Friday
didn't
nights were
wanna work.
slow. We didn't want to work, and so we decided that we were gonna play like 2 hours with a tip jar. You know, like she wouldn't have to pay us. We would just do it.
Sure, yeah.
And we did that for about like a month, I would say, every Friday. And people hated it. Absolutely hated it. And so that was really encouraging, but we decided.
But it was still so much better
Oh my
than
god.
serving, so we just kept doing it, and then we
Yeah.
started like bringing our own songs because we were doing a lot of cover songs.
Sure, yeah.
But like I'd go over to her apartment and we
We
would
write songs together.
we'd finish songs that we'd started on our own, and it was great. It was like, why have we been doing this the
It
whole
was so
time?
easy too. Like
Yeah.
I've tried to write songs with other people, and it's kind of like I don't know.
Pull all of your teeth out.
Yeah.
So wait, so for each of you, how early in your lives were you writing music? I mean, does it go back to childhood or?
My dad was a songwriter, so
Okay.
I've been writing songs. Like I have proof that I've been writing songs since I was 6.
Okay.
At least. So I don't know. But that was passed down to me from my dad, who I wanted to be like.
Truth. Okay, so like I tell people that I started writing songs in high school, but truthfully, it was like middle school. I found a tape, like a cassette tape.
Yes.
It's so embarrassing and so bad,
Dude.
but it happened. So.
I remember sitting in my bedroom when I was 6, and I had like my dad's tape recorder, and my song was like, "Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? I am." And my dad walked in on me singing that, and I was like mortified, like, "Get out!" But he kept it. Like I still have
I
that.
thought there used to be a B-side on the next episode or something. I mean, you know, you guys covered the Air Brothers tonight. You know, if they can have their family recordings on their albums,
Right.
then I think that could fit.
Could resurrect that.
Yeah, yeah.
Those first few years of songwriting
It's
were
amazing.
rough.
I love it. My mom saved a copy of some lyrics that I wrote down in like this terrible six-year-old scrawled handwriting. Like she wrote Kate age 6 at the bottom, and the lyrics are like, "You are not the man for me. You are not the man for me. You suddenly disappeared on me. You're not the man for me."
At least it rhymed. Nice work.
That's pretty deep for 6 years old.
I know.
Too, so.
Who was I singing about? I don't know. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long
All right.
It's been a lot of honing the craft first.
I feel like
Before like revealing to anyone else that this
Sure.
is happening.
Yeah, and I
Sure.
think, you know, I do have moments where I was doing that, but like I didn't get serious about songwriting until 8th or 9th grade.
Okay.
My first talent show was 10th grade, and that was like definitively my first performing experience.
Nice.
So,
Nice. I was always too cowardly at that age to take
It's
anything
hard.
I made and put it out there. So I'm always impressed when I talk to people that have done that, you know.
those were like
So-
out of body experiences.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know how you did solo. Like I played in shitty bands in high school, which was, I mean, at that point when you're that big of a nerd, you really don't have anything to lose, you know, like, and you're with your friends, it's okay, it's like a safe space. But alone, that's totally different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I had some bad experiences alone. Alone is so much less fun than together.
Yeah. So I'm always impressed by stand-up comedians because like their career is based on failing for so long by
long.
themselves before eventually clicking to something. And it's like, nah, I would lose my mind before that.
God. Especially because I feel like the criticism is a lot harsher. Like music, you can be like, he's talented. It's not for me, but he's talented. But if someone's not funny, you're like, that fucker, I don't know what he's doing.
People are
Go home.
mean about it.
Yeah, people can be mean for sure. All right, so you're writing together and you're making
Yeah.
some music. And
So
This is like the longest of stories.
yeah, sorry.
that's right. This is what I do. So
You're getting more details than most people get.
that's what I aim for. So.
So there was a 5th band member. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know.
His name was Tom. He was in some writing classes with me. We both majored in writing in college. And so at the time when I was playing with Emily, he and I got this wild hair up our butts that we were going to start a band. And then like he invited Dan because they knew each other from high school. And so then we were all like, this is stupid. Let's just make one band.
Yeah, we're trying to like organize practices, and it's very hard
Yeah.
when one person is split between two different
I'm
groups.
not even in the story yet.
I was getting there. I was getting there.
You coming for that?
I'll come back when I'm relevant.
So meanwhile, Ben and Dan knew each other, and we were like playing, and we played out a few times, and people kept saying like, "You're really good, but you need a bassist."
Which
And-
most of those people were bass
Bassists.
players, so we're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you in the band. Is
Yeah.
what the bottom line was.
But he came to one of our shows, and I remember being like, "I like this guy. He's funny. He's handsome. You can't go wrong with that."
Absolutely good combination.
Uh-huh.
We had no idea if he could play the bass.
No, but
But
he
funny and handsome. I mean,
I know.
you'll figure the rest out,
He
right?
started like running sound for us in these venues where they just give you a soundboard and nobody to run it. So
Sure.
like he would do that for us because we weren't experienced in that, and that helped us out a lot. And then he started talking about like, I can make an album for you guys. And so somehow in that we were like, all right, well let's try you out. Let's see if you can play bass, and then maybe you can record our album and play bass.
Sure.
On the album.
Yeah.
And then he was so good that we're like, okay, never leave us.
Yeah. He's very talented. It was a very strange transition. So we were like, we're a four-piece, and then trying to add a fifth person was like, I don't know.
It's so
about you.
tricky. Like being in a band, we always equate it to being married. Like all five of us are married, now all four of us are married, and it's so hard to like bring new people or like have people leave because it's such a very delicate chemistry between
Yeah.
everybody, and you're doing
And our
so much
lives are
together.
dependent upon each other. Like whenever someone takes a weekend off, we all take the weekend off, and so we carefully architect our lives around each other.
Sure.
because-
There has to be like so much trust involved. Like you're not gonna let me down at any point, and I'm not gonna let you down. And I don't know. It's a big commitment for people to take, especially when music kind of tends to be a hobby for a lot of people.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's really hard to find somebody who's like all in. But Zito was all in right from day
Yeah,
one.
he was awesome.
So that's how we knew it was gonna work out.
And I never appreciated the bass before Zito. Like, he's like a lead instrument for us. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's one of the more talented bassists that we know. And he just, like, when we're on stage, it still happens. Like, we've been playing together for 5 years, and like, I'll tune into his part, and it's just like, it's so sweet.
It's
Like, how does he
always
do
the part
that?
I end up singing.
I know.
Like if you're just, it's like the horn line in a. Since Zito was in a ska band, he played I think sax, right? He was a sax player. But all of his bass lines are more like horn parts. Like they're their
catchy.
own counter melodies, and that's always what I end up getting stuck in my head.
And it's such a discreet instrument. Like, most people don't understand that the reason they like our music is because of the bass. They have no concept of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's in there. Like, that's a lot of why the bass is what makes them dance. They don't even know it.
Sure.
That's why they're dancing.
Sure.
So it's crazy. But yeah, he came on. It was only a couple months after we started.
Like two.
Yeah. It's weird telling the origin story though, because like, he wasn't originally in it, so he always gets like irritated with us.
Get to my part yet.
Well, but 5 years. I mean, I think that's
yeah.
pretty solid.
Yeah, he's put in his time.
He's put his time. Yeah. He's a part of the mythology now.
For sure.
Yeah. So 5 years. So when you're touring. How far out do you tour when you have toured?
You go ahead.
We've gone about as far west as Wyoming.
Okay. All right.
So usually we hit like Colorado and Nebraska and all of those kind of long
Iowa.
country
Boring
states.
states.
Yeah. And then we've gone out east. We've done D.C., New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, a lot of the East Coast.
Nice.
And then we've gone as far south as Gatlinburg,
Yes,
Tennessee.
not too far
Not
south
too far
yet.
south yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But we'd like to hit Nashville and Kentucky and
We're doing that this January.
yeah.
Nice. I mean, so what's that like? Like getting yourself out there, because I would have to think one of the biggest challenges is, getting out there and saying, hey, like here's this thing we do, and you need to pay us for this thing we do. Like, so because
The asking for money is the hardest part.
well, yeah, because
And the answer is no.
we're all creative people, and we're all our own worst critic. So then,
Well, the thing is, no matter how talented you are, that's irrelevant. Like, that has nothing to do with their business. They see your music and they say, okay, you're really good, we'll give you a chance. but you don't have a draw yet, so we'll give you $100 to come play. And
Yeah.
it's devastatingly, it's just.
And on
it's
top
not
of that, like
money.
it's always hard too, because no matter how good you are, if you're going to a new place, like people are gonna be immediately skeptical.
Sure.
It's hard to get bodies in the room to begin with.
Yeah,
Let
but we
alone
can't say
in a
no.
new town,
It's
yeah.
like it's just part of the process. Like it's a hard learning curve, basically. And we did that in Grand Rapids so long ago that it's hard to remember that we did that in Grand Rapids.
Sure.
But we built ourselves up that way. You go, you play for cheap. People like you, they come back and they bring their friends, and you start to build a fan base, and then you have that as leverage against the venue because they need to make money too.
Sure.
They don't want to lose money on you.
Exactly.
So there are venues that have like a built-in crowd, or they're more music oriented, so they will pay more. Like concert series, like outdoor concert series, are amazing. They'll
Yeah.
always pay good money. So that we usually do like a couple money shows and then like a bunch of
Other fillers.
crap paying shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just need to get our name out there at this point.
Sure.
We found, luckily, that like if there's 2 people in the room, generally those two people will really like us because we'll put on a great show even for 2 people.
Sure.
Exactly. And on top of that, like it's always, I don't know. Like I feel like it's always really rewarding to even play for an empty room and to have the bar staff be like, we really liked you. You know, because those people hear music all the time, all kinds of music.
Sure.
So to have anyone say that they didn't hate it, that's always a victory.
There's a little hope on even the worst night.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
But we have fun anyway. Like when no one shows up, we're like, whatever, it's a paid practice.
Dan usually says things like, "Good night, Cleveland." Just, yeah. Our morale is always pretty high.
Yeah.
So.
There's a good energy going on. So I saw you that night with Lindsay Lou, and you know it was funny because I remember so distinctly. I had worked all day, and then I drove over to the theater, which is a good hour drive, and you know I had been trying to connect with Lindsay for a year.
Whoa.
Really?
I saw her when she and the band played out at the Hanson Theater in Benton Harbor. This is incredibly skilled, by the way.
Don't mind me.
I am highly impressed by this right now.
Don't mind me. At this point in the interview, it's very awkward.
You know what? There's a moment in the interview with Lindsay, I think you do the same thing too.
Really?
I think so.
No way. Like, come in and say, don't mind me.
I think,
Recycling so much material.
yeah, I think there's even a moment where you say, and this is the part where I interrupt the interview. And
When did you do that?
I released it yesterday, actually, so I'll send you guys a link.
Riviera.
Yeah, at the Riviera. Yeah.
Weird.
But so I was exhausted that night, right? I came and I did the show. So I saw Lindsay play in Benton Harbor, and I'm like, all right, we need to connect, get you on a podcast. And I think it was the next day I was supposed to drive up to somewhere like an hour away and meet up with them. And then winter hit.
Yeah.
I remember I couldn't see 6 inches in front of my car, so I turned back and I called Lindsay. I'm like, this is not happening. I'm sorry, I can't get to you
Makes
safely.
sense. That's-
You know, so we've been going back and forth for the last year, and finally we're like, okay, you're in Three Rivers. That's just, 40, 50 minutes from my house. We'll connect then.
Nice.
So I get there, it's a long day at work, and then I have to work the next morning. So I see the show, and I didn't even know it was 2 bands. I knew Lindsay was playing, and I thought she's gonna play. We're gonna do the interview afterward. I'm gonna go home, go to bed, go to work the next day, right? And then
So sorry.
you guys, so you guys came out, and I'm like, there's another band here, you gotta be kidding me. Because I knew, then, I'm not gonna see Lindsay and the Five Bellies until after you guys are done playing. And then you guys came on, and I was like, these guys are amazing. Holy shit. And you guys blew my mind.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
were keeping you from your bed. I know that pain.
do you? Well,
Definitely.
I did not regret it. The next morning I went to work exhausted, and I was like, I don't care. I saw these 2 amazing bands last night. It was a blast. So
That's so
it was,
sweet.
yeah, it was good. It was very good.
Oh,
So.
that's fantastic. That was every time we get to play with Lindsay Lou. Like, I don't know. It just feels like such an honor, and I'm always so excited to do it. Like, they're so talented. It's one of those kind of I can't believe we're friends bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what's next for you? I mean, do you have this strategy of getting your name out there and expanding the range? And...
I mean, ideally, that's the plan.
Yeah, we had. So our banjo player left in like on January 1st last year, and
Okay.
so we were like before that working on getting a new album out. We had a plan to release an album, and then once he left, we busted our asses to work on a new album, and then it ended up being that we wanted to make 2 albums out of the material we had, because we were enamored with it. Originally, we wanted to cut it down to 1 album, but it was like we couldn't, and maybe that's a major amateur move, but like we just couldn't.
Sure, yeah.
So we figured, we haven't released an album in 2 years, we might as well release one in August and then one the next year. And they're amazing. Like, we love this latest album. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I'm gonna say it.
I think you're okay saying that.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like I feel like, especially right now, because it's funny, all we have is our first album and our latest album to sell. So I feel like these 2 albums cannot sound any more different. Like this is a huge range of where we've been and where we are.
Yeah.
And the next album is like even a step further out. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm just really excited to share it with people, and I feel like now that we have this confidence and momentum, like it'll be a lot easier to go to venues and be like, play our music, like let us come here. We can definitely pull people, just give us a chance. And so I think that we're gonna try and use this like very brief spurt of confidence and good vibes and try and take that on the road.
You have to, yeah. We got energy, for sure.
It's funny because we decided to release these 2 albums, and I think some people have this notion that like the first album was the album and the second album is the B-sides.
Sure, yeah.
And like it's not that way. Like we made the second album and we're like, holy crap, this is even better than the first one. We tried to make them even, but we actually really prefer the.
There was some discussion about what order they would be released in too, because we were like, I think everybody's favorites are on the second album, and
I don't know, man.
It's hard. It's really hard to pick. But I feel like for a really long time we're like, I don't know, like maybe we should release the second album first and Coyote Stories in like the early spring. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a really good progression from like this is a little different to this is a lot different.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Coyote Stories is a little safer.
Yes.
We've been wanting to branch out. Like now that we don't have the banjo, there's so much room to play with that, dynamically we didn't have before. And as far as like Emily and I were rhythm guitarists, and now like she plays banjo and she plays lead guitar, or I play lead guitar
Or banjo. So we've just been kind of like pushing ourselves to do something different and to be better.
We had to get better. Like it was very quickly like, okay, we're either gonna fail or we get better. And so we challenged ourselves to be better, and it worked out for us. It's been a long year. Like we put in a lot of work this year.
This has been the year. Like I think we put in more work this year than we have in all 5 years as a band, and it's been the best year so far.
Yeah, we got a booking agent, thankfully, and he's been very helpful to this process. But I think, like, we used to look at it in terms of, we gotta make it, we gotta find our big break, we gotta make it. And now we're kind of like older and thinking like, we have to have longevity. Like, we have to be healthy and care for ourselves and do the writing we love and like do it well.
Making it mean something different.
Yeah.
I think when you realize that this is a job, as opposed to this is a dream and I would love to like, I don't know, be famous or have other people singing my music and et cetera, as opposed to I want to be able to do this every day and
be
live
financially
comfortably.
secure.
Yeah. And like that's it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because one of the questions I always love to ask is, what is that definition of success? Like, how do you know when you've hit that line, or is there even a line?
I mean, I think you'll always want to advance to a certain point. Like, we have our goals as a band. Like, when we started, it was like, within a year, we'll have a Tiny Desk concert. And that was stupid.
It's still on the list, though.
Hey,
we haven't erased it from the list.
That would be fantastic, because I love me some All Songs Considered. So, yeah.
Well, we got to do Michigan Radio with Emily Fox, and that just felt like such a big step. And I don't know, like our goals are a lot more short term, but like we still have big dreams, obviously. Like we do it because we want to have that room to grow.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're very thankful and happy for like being where we are and having the opportunities that we have.
it used to be like very vague, very broad goals. Like, we want to be successful.
Sure.
And that doesn't work.
I know, it's like when you meet people in the industry too, like they've all learned this lesson many years ago. So we went to Folk Alliance International. It's this huge folk conference. Last year it was in St. Louis, or was it Kansas?
Kansas City. It's
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Basically it's like people from the industry from all over the world come to this conference, and they look for new talent. And when they sit down with you, they're like, how much do you expect to make in a year? Like, what are your goals? And they expect very specific answers. And that was really eye-opening, because I feel like as musicians, it's really easy to be like, I don't know, like, I think it'd be cool if we could do this, or it'd be cool, like, instead
We
of
want
having
to put out an
concrete
album.
goals.
Is that enough? Like,
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well,
but they
because
want numbers. Like, how many fans do you want to draw to a show? How many
Yeah.
shows do you want to put in a year? How much money do you want to make at each show? How much money do you want to make in a year? It's very like, I don't know.
it's way more
I'm
of a
21.
business. Yeah.
So how did you answer those questions? Because that's one of
Very
the things.
poorly the first time.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, I know, because you know, for the stuff that. Oh, did we lose a? That's why I have backups.
Your phone's definitely still going.
All right. So, you know, going out there and the thing. So I have my hands in this kind of stuff, and I do some live events and some other things. And one of the challenges I've always run into is when I go to this place and say, hey, let's do this sort of a thing. How do you coming up with a number? How do you? So when you're in that moment when they're asking you these questions, how did you?
People lie.
All right.
That's the only way you can be successful in this world. You have to lie, and we're not willing to do that. Like,
Sure.
it's this weird realization I think we had this year. Like, we kind of just have to do this on our own terms.
Okay.
Because we want to work. We're willing to work.
Yeah.
But do we want to burn ourselves out after a year? No. Do we want to be on the road for 5 months at a time? No, we do not. That's just the simple truth of it. And we won't be able to sustain ourselves. Like, we might be able to do that for a year.
Sure.
But our goal is to do this for our lives, because we love each other.
Yeah.
And we get along, and it's amazing. There's chemistry, and
What are we
just
talking
works.
about?
Careers and money and all sorts of stuff.
Basically, like, those talks where managers want to know, like, what are your goals?
The big conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next step.
Now, and feel free to decline answering this question if you so desire. Do you guys work day jobs? Is this all
No.
you're doing? Okay, so
This is
you're.
life, yeah.
This is life. Okay, all right. So you're at the point where, I mean, when was that moment for you? When was that moment where
January.
you? That's okay.
Yeah,
All
like
right.
so, I don't know, like, losing a member really makes you reevaluate, like, what are we doing? Why are we here? And I think that it helped us a lot in kind of focusing on our goals and figuring out what we wanted. I was working at a salaried job that was, like, full-time, and I really did enjoy it, but, like, I don't know, it wasn't really what I wanted, and it took kind of that final push of life is changing, we need to move forward, make a decision.
Sure.
You know, like, the push was what kind of did it, and ever since then I feel like we've had this really great momentum in moving forward. You lost the battery.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, I mean, all right. So, do you have an idea of what's next as far as the big plan, or?
We keep trying to get people to join our team, which is hard when you're not like, I want to play 280 shows a year. But we've been building connections within the Michigan music scene, and like, we know a lot of different people, and we're able to sustain ourselves with shows. We play a lot in Michigan, and those are like our money-paying shows, and then we travel outward.
Okay.
What you said, getting people to join our team. I don't know if you guys
Yeah, I
touched
guess.
base on this, but like the goal used to be like it takes one person. It takes one person to see you, and then you're gonna.
That's such a lie.
Yeah, that doesn't exist, And the more we play, it's very clear that one person doesn't exist. It's not gonna be
Sure.
like, oh, here's all the money, and I'll just book all these things.
There's
for
no
you,
magic
and
fix, right?
Unless you
You should
have
come on over
money.
here.
And
Yeah,
then
so
you
we
know.
can- Here, come on in.
If you have money, then you can pay that special one person to do stuff for you, and then you can be famous. But
Right,
if you
so-
start out without money,
So we kind of took this approach. It's like, okay, I'm fine. We'll just we just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And get a booking agent. I took over a lot of the managerial things.
Yeah, Zito's been
And-
rocking the manager role for a while.
And we get a lawyer, we get like press people on board, and then the interesting thing is, none of these people are as excited about you surviving as you are. You know, it turns out the four of us really want to survive, and everyone else wants to survive in their own sphere, and that's great, I guess. You know, good for them. So like we try to build this team, and it's hard to get everyone as motivated as you are, and without staying. You basically have to stay on top of them constantly, otherwise they just forget you exist. So, when she says building a team, we're trying to build that team and get everyone as excited as we are about the Crane Lives, because we think there is something here, and if we're gonna be professionals, we're gonna make this a profession, we have to do it ourselves. We're done waiting
For someone else.
to be like, this is how you do it, because there is no way to do it. This is how you do it. You play Benton Harbor, and then you play New Era, and then you play, Frankfurt. You play all these fun shows, and you make some money, and then you look for a big show, and then you play some fun shows, and that's how it goes.
So, I mean, because, like you said, there's no instruction manual, right? There's no, like, okay, to be a successful band, this is step one, step two, step... So, what are your touch points? How do you know what to aim for from the day-to-day, you know?
It's hard.
It's hard to tell. It's a balance of making sure you have enough money for food and rent and everything.
Always important.
And then you gotta play exposure games.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, yeah.
There are air quotes. But that said, I don't know. I think the milestones are like, how do you feel at any given point in your career? Like, do you feel like you're achieving what you want to achieve? And that could be said for anything, not just music, but like, because there's no like promotion, there's no one like on top of us telling us you're doing a good job. Like, we have to make those benchmarks for ourselves. And so we like to like check in every once in a while to make sure everybody's feeling good about what we're doing, and if we're not, like, we try to resolve that as quickly as possible, obviously.
Sure.
I think that it's one of those things, like, as a tiny band community, we figure out what those benchmarks are as we go along.
There are really strange moments too. Like, we had an offer this fall for a show with a company that we knew had a lot of money, and it was kind of one of those things. Like, I texted our booking agent, like, okay, they have money, so ask them for money. And he was like, what do you want to make? And I gave him a normal number, the high end of what we asked for. And then he's like, all right, I'm gonna ask for this number. And it was like way more than we normally ask for. And they gave it to us. And since then, he's been asking people for more money.
Yeah, we had a conversation after that. I was like, yeah, just ask him for whatever. Like, ask him for 20,000. I don't care. I don't care. Like,
What are they gonna say? No?
and then make a reasonable offer.
Exactly.
What if they say yes?
Yeah, there you go.
So we haven't reached the 20,000 mark yet. Just
Sure.
to be clear, I will throw a party on that.
Take a couple weeks off.
I know.
You all will know, because we will be screaming it from the rooftops.
But, it's weird. This industry wants you to stay exactly where you are, because there's venues that can't afford for you to get more successful.
Sure.
And that's sad. Like, people just don't care about music the way that they used to. It's very
There's
obvious
just so
to
much
us.
of it, yeah.
Coming to places like this, the Livery, where people sit down and they watch you, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Why are you paying attention to us?
Yeah.
We're not used to this. Like, they care. That's amazing. Normally, people care a little bit. But, like, people just don't, like, sit in their bedrooms and listen to vinyl. And, like, music isn't a spiritual experience anymore. It's just, we take it for granted so much, most of the time.
Sure.
And then there are the handful of people that really love music.
Right.
We live because of those people.
There was a guy here tonight that said that he loved our lyrics, which I don't think you'd ever, like, that sort of thing, you don't hear that at a bar, ever. No one's like, the lyrics are really great, which is, I mean, it's fine, but that means that that person was paying attention, and that is a huge compliment, and those are the people that really kind of keep us going, because those are the people that are there every step of the way. Whenever we're like, hey, we're doing a pledge music, hey, we're doing a Kickstarter, like, those are the people that will share that link, or like give us money or believe in our goals.
And they're the people that bring other people to our shows.
Sure.
I don't know. It's
You had asked, like, what's the plan, like, what's moving forward, like, where do we go now? And to get back from that to that, it's like we're trying to build these types of communities. We have it here in Michigan, in a few places, here in Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Traverse City. And now we go out of state and we play to an empty room, or, you know, like, five people, and then those 5 people, hey, those guys are pretty good. And the next time they bring a friend, so there's 10 people, and now we're trying to make each of these little rooms to the new Benton Harbor, new Kalamazoo,
Yeah.
Grand Rapids, you know. You just hit these spots over and over, hoping that they grow, until every time you go play a show, it's as welcoming as a place like this. And that's kind of our working model right now.
Sure.
Just go out, develop these markets until they pay well and people care.
Sure.
And that's how you stay
Yeah.
going.
Now, is there any element of, you know, reaching out to other bands and saying, hey, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I'll come play your town. They've got a following, so you get their crowd, and then, hey, you can play
Oh,
our
yeah,
town.
absolutely.
You know.
Perfect example. Last night we were in Peoria, Illinois. Way Down Wanderer said, will you play the show? Hell yeah, your hometown show, we'll play with you.
Yeah.
And then we decided to put together a New Year's Eve show in Grand Rapids, our hometown. And
Nice.
just return the favor right back and we're bringing them up to Grand Rapids. And that kind of thing happens all the time.
Yeah, okay.
With Lindsay Lou, actually, we played some dates with them in Colorado, and we played some dates with them here in Michigan. It's just, I don't know. I think we get really lucky with the Michigan community because there are so many people who have like branched out and they've made these awesome connections, and it's so supportive, as opposed to like other places where it's a lot more difficult to get that kind of cooperative. I don't know, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like
It's
Michigan's
easier when
very
you're not
different.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's not
sometimes
a competition. Like,
Yeah.
everyone in Michigan is so eager to help each other. I'm sure there are little
Pockets,
subsects
yeah.
of Michigan music where the people are more alienated or isolated, and they might have the competitive vibe, but from what we have experienced, as long as you are reaching out to people and like being helpful in return as much as you can, everyone wants to help each other, because we know it's like us against the world right
Sure.
now.
Yeah. I think what I'm running into more and more is I'm seeing that there are these sort of little pocket collectives here and there. I mean, you look at like sort of the Grand Rapids Kalamazoo thing with the Earthworks and what's going on with that, and then where I'm from, over by Niles and South Bend, there's sort of a group of musicians down there that kind of have that sort of a thing going, and there's a vibrant scene building out of that. And I found this one thing, out of all things, it's this group of musicians that all know each other from a message board on the internet, and they play these shows throughout the year together where they all meet up, and these are people from all over the country now, and they do this one show up in by Escanaba in February of all times to go to UP, and they play, you know what? It sounds insane. It's called Thunder Snow. And it sounds insane, but all
I
these.
saw a Facebook event for that. It's getting pretty big, is it?
I don't know if it's getting how big it's getting, but I mean, there's probably some connections between. Because I know like the Rutabaga out of South Bend, they're one of the bands that plays up there, and so I mean, there's definitely connections between Michigan thing and this thing. So I mean, I'm sure there's things, but it's so much fun because you get this group of people who are just. Everyone's in it for the love of the music, and maybe it's not as broad. You know, for most people, music's background, but
It's kind of back to that like shared misery experience. Like musicians love what they do,
sure, yeah,
but like we get together with these people and it's like you make friends with them once and then suddenly like you see them a second time and you're like way closer than
Old
you would
friends,
normally be
Yeah.
with another person, because they understand your life so much more than someone you would meet in other aspects of your life.
certainly.
So it's
Yeah.
like we just get it. Like we know what it's like to be on the road and to hardly make any money and to try to pay your bills without money.
Just not pay taxes this year.
And we know what it's like to play a great show, and we know what it's like to play a horrible show, and we just have all of these not shared experiences but like similar experiences. So we just feel this bond with all of these people.
Sure, yeah.
It's great. And we can go, like Lindsay, Lou, and the Flat Bellies, they were so busy for such a long time that we went like a year without seeing them. And we're still so close with them.
Sure.
Because, you know, we try to keep up with each other, we ask each other questions, and
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, it's always good to have this network because we don't know everything. We barely know anything sometimes. And so it's always good to, like, have someone else who's either done it before or, you know, maybe has a different... Ooh, yeah, go take care of that. Or, you know, maybe has a different point of view about it.
Yeah.
That's always good. Green Sky Bluegrass has been pretty awesome for that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of good advice.
Yeah, there's no, I always like to say there's no dream gig, and like no one has it all figured out, and I think that, you know, musicians get that, and we're all in the process.
Sure.
And everybody's ideas of success are different too, like within the different bands, and so it's kind of like we're all trying to figure out what works as a whole, and like you're hearing stories of the other bands, and you're like, wow, they're doing that, but you know, band A might be touring 300 days a year and making way more money than us, but they're exhausted. And then this band over here, you know, it's like how everybody is doing it. We're kind of all round tabling all the time and talking about that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you gotta find your thing in the middle, right? That works for you in particular and your goals.
What I really love too is I feel like with the Michigan scene, there is no idea of like once you've gotten to a certain level, you're bigger than the other people. And I guess what I'm saying is like I called Dominic Davis, who plays bass for Jack White, and he used to play bass for Steppin' In It and Seth Bernard and stuff. And he spent, I mean, his time is very valuable. He curated Willie Nelson's 80th birthday party concert and chose the music and chose the players.
What is his life?
I
Like,
know.
what the fuck even is that?
Right, and he spent an hour on the phone with me, just like talking to me about how it works and what he thinks we should do and stuff. So it's like, you know, it's really nice.
I think, I hope, because I'm an eternal optimist, but I think there's evidence to this, that we are in an era where people have sort of turned away from, and I feel like growing up, I was always told, you know, there's a secure way, you know, you get this kind of a job, and, you know, this is the kind of thing you do with your money, and this is how you live safely, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, most recently we had this recession, and the bottom dropped out of that supposed safety that we all had, and if you did the right thing, you still got screwed.
Yeah.
And I feel like since then, as bad as that was for people, what has come out of it on the positive side is that people have turned toward things that are important to them. So it's not about necessarily the money thing anymore. It's about, I mean, you see it locally in what's going on in food and craft beer and music, and just people are turning toward things that mean something again, as opposed to
What is safe?
what is safe. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like there's a founders short film that I got to be a part of, and the whole narrative of this little commercial short film thing is all about how when Founders started, they were going downhill, and they were literally about to declare bankruptcy, and they had like this hangout where the two owners were like, okay, if we're going down, we're gonna go down making the beer that we want to make, and we're gonna stop catering to everybody else. And as soon as they stopped catering to what they thought people might like, they blew up, and it's like because their beer became unique, it became what they loved. And I think it's like, it's not always that easy, and obviously it sucks to be like feeling unstable and feeling stressed out all the time and not knowing if you're gonna eat.
Sure.
But I feel like if you at least have enough to be healthy and like eat, that living safely is just a frickin' joke. Because it's like, this is your one life, you know?
absolutely.
If you're not getting into something you love, you're kind of doing it wrong.
Plus, like, to hit on your point, there really is no living safely anymore, especially for like recent graduates of college, unless you get like an engineering degree or you want to be a nurse.
Doctor, yeah.
But even mortuary school?
I mean, I got a friend he's a doctor of psychology, but if you do the ratios, financially he's in the same position as I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
God.
I mean, because he makes more money, but he's all these student loans he's paying off. For
My ex had like $500,000 of loans
Yeah.
because of med school, and that's like generous. Like, like he's doing pretty good. That's not saying much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I don't know, like I think we've all had the situation where we were making money, like we all did the day jobs and band part-time for a really long time, like 3 years, 4 years. And it was really hard to try and balance, like being at work, like Zito had an hour commute every day.
Yeah, I quit my job in 2012 though.
That's true. Yeah, Zito was on board like 2 feet way before
We're
everything.
doing this.
Exactly.
I'm out.
Fuck this noise. But it is.
They said, "Do you want a promotion?" I said, "No, I'm gonna leave."
But that's so brave. It's so hard to be like in a perilous position, especially when you have student loans, especially when like you're just kind of out on your own. We're at this point in our lives where it's like, this is it. Like if we have problems, like we're gonna have to figure out a way to do it on our own. And so it's hard to like take risks, really. But
It's funny because like today we were talking about like, okay, say one of us declared, I don't want to do this anymore, which isn't gonna happen because we fucking love it.
she says with a
That
threatening
better be
voice.
true. Just kidding. No, but
Which isn't gonna happen because I'll murder you.
if we failed today, tomorrow we could get a job. And I know it might not be a good job or like something we want, but it is something that would pay money. Like
I bet you the
could
Chinese restaurant is still
exactly.
hiring.
See, there you go.
And the Taco Bell down the street is hiring. Like it is possible that I could find a job very quickly.
Yeah.
And there's so much security in that because like if we followed a different career path and deep inside our minds we wanted to be performing music, like how do you quit that when you're older? Like say you're 30 and you have a kid, like
That's not
you're
that much
married.
older. Let's
Time to
be
hit the road.
okay.
I mean, if you were starting, if you were starting out, damn it.
No, I get what you're saying though. Like once you're settled. I think
This is
that's
our
the difference.
chance.
Well, I do know what you mean because I'm 34 and I only recently I fell into the retail world after college because I didn't have anything else going for me and that worked for a long time and I did okay with it and I had a secure thing going up until a couple of years ago and I realized my girlfriend Kristen realized and knocked me in the head. She said, "You're miserable. You need to quit now." And so I did, and now I am working with animals in an animal hospital and doing this,
Yes.
half time, and it's like here you go. But yeah, like had I been doing that much
Before
longer,
anything's better than retail.
Well, sure. Yeah, that's for sure. Never go back.
That's the title of the article.
That's right. Yeah.
Everything's better than retail.
I mean, that's the moral of the story, though. Like, I don't know. It's really easy to get stuck doing something that you don't love. Like, my job, I really did enjoy. It was a good job, and I'm eternally grateful for everybody I worked with for making it not a terrible experience. But, I don't know, there's a difference between doing something that you don't hate and doing something that you love.
Yes.
And there's that fine balance of doing something you love, but not wearing yourself out on it. So we're always trying to check in with each other to make sure, like, are we playing enough? Are we playing too much? Like, how do we balance there?
You gotta wear yourself out just
enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like,
Especially at this phase, too, yeah.
Well, cool. I mean, I think you guys have the right attitude going into it, and you certainly have the talent.
It
so.
helps to have a sense of humor about
Yeah,
everything.
you have to. You really have to. Yeah, and to remember just what you said there. That I mean, it is important to. It's important to do something that's you love. And there is a difference. I didn't hate being where I was. I had a great employer in my job in retail, but
You're not sad. It's not like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. It's not like a pain in the ass to go to work. It's just not as fulfilling as some other things that you could be doing. And it's, I don't know, I think everybody can do the shitty job or be in the bad relationship or be like content, with what they have. I and there's comfort in that, you know, like things are never gonna get
There's
too
nothing easier
shitty.
than doing nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that if you have the capacity to be happier, why not?
Life's short, right? Aim for it.
YOLO.
Aim for it.
YOLO.
YOLO.
All right. Well, I feel like I get to chat with you guys all night, but I know you guys need to get on the road, and you know I don't want to keep it. So
Yeah.
So cool. Well, thank you for taking the time to meet up with me. And
This was probably my favorite interview.
Yeah.
that makes me feel good. Thank you so much. I love it. So all right. Well, I'll be in touch and let you know when this hits. And
Thank you.
yeah. Oh, did you guys pack up the merch already? Because I'm supposed to buy some CDs from you.
I feel the mountains shifting underneath. The sleeping giants are finally waking. Finally, my pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. The moon is humming lovely melodies. The forest echoes, the trees are crowing, hungry harmonies. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. Ooh, ah, ah, 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 ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ah. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. My pulse is clear, rushing in my ears. I hear something calling me. Ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ah, ah.
You have been listening to Anywhere the Needle Drops, a product of Red Chuck Productions. Be sure to keep tabs on everything going on with this show and everything else Red Chuck over at redchuckproductions.com or by following us at Red Chuck Productions on social media. Special thanks to Hero Jr. for our theme music. You can check them out, listen to their songs, and see where they're going to be over at herojrmusic.com. That's HEROJRMUSIC.com. Also, special thanks to Paul Clemson, our sound engineer and producer. And while you're at it, make sure you visit the websites and band camps and shows of all of our guests. If you want local music, if you want independent music, or any kind of art, you've got to support them. So give musicians and artists your money. We will see you at the next episode. Until then, here's to life.
Would I?